Hello.
Hello. I'm actually gonna pick this up and try and hold it gently because I know every bump I do is kind of loud. So I decided to do this live because recently I got some messages, questions about the process of getting a custom wheelchair, which I'm still waiting on mine. Um, My insurance did approve it. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And once it's approved, and they go ahead and place the order and order everything, so that's where I'm at right now. But I can kind of talk about what the process was like um, up to this point. So I'm hoping to hear either sometime later this week or next week about that it's been shipped. And once it's shipped, then they schedule an appointment with your PT people, because that's where it's getting shipped to, is whatever PT office usually. Some I went through Permobile, um, that basically work hand in hand with Tylate. So my chair is being made out in Washington State by Tylate. And Tylate will then ship it to Permobile, which ships it to my PT place, which is Ohio State. I'm sorry you're having such a bad leg pain day, Chelsea. I know how that feels sometimes. So, anyway, let me back up a little bit and start at the beginning. So, if you currently do not have a wheelchair and you are wanting to, or you're stuck in one that is, you bought secondhand, or you just went to a medical supply store and picked one up, uh, basically where you want to start is with your primary care provider or whoever you see for like physical medicine, um, and talk to them about it. Address your concerns on why you feel you need one. You are currently using, one, but it's not comfortable, or it's really hard to get in and out of your vehicle, things like that. And hopefully, they will agree to go ahead and write you a script for one. So when they write you a script, you want to make sure they include a custom fit or a custom wheelchair, because a lot of times insurance, especially if you have Medicaid, they're just going to say go get a lightweight chair from a medical place supply store. So unless that custom is included in the script, a lot of times that's what's going to happen. That's kind of what happened with me the first time. My insurance would only approve me for like a transfer type chair. So I decided to do my own research, and I bought one second hand that I felt would work best for me. Turns out my chair is very crappy, weighs a ton. My current chair weighs just a little over 30 pounds. It's very hard to put in. I can kind of lug it out of the trunk of my car, but it's difficult to get back in because it weighs so much. So once they write that script, then either your doctor's office is going to send it to a local mobility specialist. I go through National Seating and Mobility, and what I did is I actually took the physical script and I took it into them. Different parts of the country, you can do different things. You can ask your doctor to send it to a mobility specialist, or you can pick your own. So I kind of picked mine because there's two major ones in Columbus, and I went with National Seating and Mobility, and I took the physical script into them, gave it to them, and they said, okay, expect a phone call in 2 to 3 weeks so we can schedule you to get in with their doctor, um, through Ohio State. So he is a physical
I forget, but
physical something specialist, whatever. He basically determines that the chair is needed. So I saw him, and then I met with one of their physical therapists, and the therapist kind of took some initial measurements, a little bit, my width, my height, and my weight, and then the width of my hips, the width of my knees, how far my feet to the seat of my leg thigh was,
and
uh, just took some measurements. So then they take all those measurements and they kind of look at different options for you and think what would be most comfortable for you, what would work for you. And you come back in another like week to 2 weeks, and you actually test out chairs. So the National Seating and Mobility brings in different types of products to different brands of chairs, like Tylite chairs, Quickie chairs. I forget. There's a few other ones to determine, which type is best for you. They also take a look at is if you need a manual chair or do you need a power chair. Do you need a scooter? Do you need, just different things like that. For me, it was just a standard manual wheelchair. So um,
I went in. I tried.
different chairs out. We finally settled on a style. They did some more measurements with me in the chair. The front, like the casters, different. How do I want the casters? The angle of the foot plates. Is it going to be tapered? Do you want it to stay just the 90-degree box? Mine is tapered in a little bit. It's 95. It's 85 degrees, so it's still out a little bit. It's not like straight up and down. Um, and then uh, you determine if you want it tapered in. So the front, where the foot plate is, it can curve in. It can stay square. I opted to have it curve in closer to my feet, because I didn't want my calves, the sides of my calves on my legs, like hitting the edge of the bar and causing that to have a pressure sore or to get red, because my current chair does that. I like to sit with my ankles crossed. It's just kind of a natural thing for me, and that's just kind of how it goes. And that's how I'm comfortable. So, um,
Anyway,
they
they
do a full range of, measurements and things like that, and then they ask you about your seat cushions. You try out different seat cushions. You try out different backings. Um, because I wanted to still be able to have push handles on my chair, I couldn't go with a rigid back this time. I really wanted a rigid back because it was a lot more comfortable than like a sling back or one that's not rigid. Um, but because I know I'm going to need some assistance with pushing because I'm not eligible to get a smart drive for another year, I opted for a different type of backing. So, um, that's just kind of how some of the things are options you have. You can option on your different types of wheels that you want. What kind of wheels do you want? Do you want spoked? Do you want magged? I went with a spoked wheel, and also your push rims. Usually, you can choose a standard color of the push rim, which is depending on the style of the chair. Sometimes you can get it colored if there's a primary color that goes with that chair, um, but usually it's either going to be silver or black. So I believe I went with black. I think maybe silver. I don't know. If I went with black, I'm gonna get some black acrylic nail polish to paint when I ding it up. But anyway, um, and then there's comfort grip rims, but usually those are an upcharge. They're considered a special order type thing. So there's
just
just
all
all
kinds
kinds
of
of different
different.
options. So just be prepared. Take your time to. My appointment was a 2 to 3 hour block to determine what I needed. I settled on a chair fairly quickly. I did try other options, um, but I liked my Tylite Arrow Z the best. because it sat up higher and it was just more comfortable to push. I like the way that it just set in the overall flow of things. So, and what's great with tie light is they're usually really light framed because titanium is super light. Again, also tie light completely customizes the chair to you. So that was another thing I really liked about it. The picture of the thumbnail on this video is actually my chair, but um, it's not exactly that because it's the color is going to be different, and then it's going to be tapered in the front a little bit, and yeah, so but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm waiting for it to be shipped. My insurance approved everything, so about 2 weeks ago, the order was placed. It can take 3 to 4 weeks before it actually ships. So I'm hoping maybe next week or the week after, I'm gonna hear that it has shipped, and hopefully, um, Ohio State Physical Medicine is gonna get in contact with me to go ahead and set up an appointment for me to come out and finally get my chair. So that's just kind of where I'm at. If anybody has any questions about it, let me know. I'm just kind of reading back through here. Um, Hello, wolves are live. How do I bring it up with my doctor? Okay, so I would bring it up with your doctor as if, hey, I've been having more physical issues. If you've tried other things and they're not really working, I switched PCPs, which is primary care provider. I switched PCPs recently. So going into this new PCP about 6 months ago, I was already using my current chair. So, I've the second or third appointment I went to go see her, I went in and talked about the chair a little bit. I just kind of was like, hey, this thing is really old and it's really hard to get in and out. I'm still having dizzy issues or whatever. As long as I don't think it's going to be an issue if you bring it up, as long as you have a history of issues where you would need it, and you've kind of tried some other things and they're not really that helpful. For me, having to sit down, just telling her I have to sit down in the mall or when I'm shopping, and it's really embarrassing, because I get dizzy or whatever, even though I might have a cane or a walker, like it, I just don't want to have to sit down on the floor. And if I'm already seated in something, then I don't have to sit down on the floor. So I don't know your situation, old notes, but it never hurts to just simply ask, like, hey, can I get a script for a custom chair? Um, and maybe give reasons why, because the doctor's probably going to be like, why do you feel you need one? My doctor was just like, yeah, we can totally do that for you. And the only thing I told her was I needed to say custom chair because my insurance otherwise isn't going to provide me with a custom one. Which it was denied. It was denied. I got two letters saying it was denied within about a week of each other, which was really weird. And then finally received information that it was approved. So it's possible, depending. I have Medicaid though, so that's probably why. Okie dokie, Chelsea. Hopefully that's helpful, old notes. Just ask. I mean, there's not really any particular way to bring it up. And Jacqueline, it's completely, that's something for you to decide whether or not you feel you need to um, use a chair or not. I didn't want to, but I discovered that it was easier and less embarrassing on me. I was more comfortable. I was really stubborn, and I'm still stubborn because I want to go on walks and things. And I'm like, I'm just going on a quick walk. I'll be fine. Nope, nope. I'm not. That's exactly what I would talk to your doctor about then. You know, talk about how you're dizzy and maybe medications you're taking aren't helping. You know, that you're shaky a lot and you just sit down out of pure exhaustion. The wheelchair is going to give you more freedom because you're not going to be as exhausted all the time having to use, you know, all that energy to stay upright and to stand up.
Because I have days when I'm
I'm kind of the same way. I'm like really shaky, just kind of not uh, weak, or I'm having a day where I'm just in a lot of pain, just having pain all over. And those are days when I just go ahead and I just use my chair. Oh my goodness. Okay, a pediatrician. So, well, how do your parents feel about this? Do you have your parents support Old Notes?
because I feel that
Like your parents supporting you and the fact in getting a wheelchair is a big thing, especially if your insurance, if you're on your parents' insurance, it may require copay, which means it may require them to fork out a hefty sum for part of this chair. I mean, $1,000 to $2,000, if not more. So you need to make sure that this is something that your parents would be on board with too.
hi Ava.
Lily, hey.
These are some good questions.
Questions though, guys.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Questions about it? I've already kind of talked about the process a little bit. If you want to watch this after I post it, um, and go back and I kind of start at the beginning there and talk about, you know, talking to your doctor about it, and then you know, kind of going from there. So, excuse me. That's really good then. I would talk to your parents first about it and see how they would feel about it. And, you know, maybe say, hey, you know, I'm jolty, I'm shaky a lot. You know, I have to sit down a lot. You guys know this. I don't like doing that. I feel like if I had a chair where I was already sitting down, I'd be able to keep up with everybody else. I could keep walking. I wouldn't have to stop people and be like, hey, I'm sorry, I need to sit down, you know, things like that. And be able to keep up with people better. So if your dad is advocating for you, that's great because it sounds like he would, you know, kind of understand that. And you know what, I this is gonna sound weird, but it will seem like you to people like you've gotten better because you'll be able to go out more and do more things more independently because you have this chair to be able to get around easier in. I'm kind of like that right now. My current chair is so heavy I don't want to get it in and out of my car. So I don't go out a lot because I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it. I currently have a cane that I'm using when I do go out, which kind of helps with everyday, you know, my off balance issues a little bit. But when I get dizzy, I still have to sit down, and it's a really a pain. So I get how you feel, and honestly, when I first got this chair that I'm using now, I did become somewhat more independent. I went out more, things like that. Um, you know, granted, I was using my partner's car a lot before, you know, she needed a car back. And it was easier to get my chair in and out of her car. So, um, what color is your chair going to be? And thank you so much. You're welcome. My chair is going to be an ultraviolet purple and black. I'm gonna take some vinyl wrap and probably do some vinyl wrapping in different places with a lime green. So it will be purple and lime green eventually.
And that's kind of what
I do, Jacqueline. Right now, when I'm going to be out a long time is when I use my chair. If I'm doing a quick, shopping trip, like I'm going in, just picking up a couple things and leaving, I'm just using my cane. But on long haul trips, or if we're going to be out going to like a festival or some kind of event or something like that, where there's going to be a lot of standing, a lot of walking, I will um, I will use my chair, and there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that people feel that just because you only need it sometimes you shouldn't need it at all is completely wrong. Um, it's beneficial in so many ways for so many people for different reasons, and people shouldn't be ashamed of that. I used to be ashamed. I'm still trying to accept the fact that I have whatever is going on with me that causes me to get dizzy and causes my heart rate to go up. We haven't discovered what that is yet. Um, my EKG and my echoes and things have come back normal in the past, so we don't know what's going on or why I'm having these issues. But I can tell you it's been very beneficial for me in the long run. I've become more independent. So don't be afraid, to be like, listen, yeah, I'm physically able to move around short distances and things like that. But my problem is in the long run, when I'm going somewhere to festivals, to fairs, if I'm traveling and going different places where I'm going to have to be walking or standing a lot, I can't do that.
and don't let them tell.
Tell you, oh, we'll just rent one at whatever location you're going, or if you're going to be traveling, use whatever wheelchairs they might have on location. No, those aren't comfortable. Those aren't comfortable. They're not tailored to you, especially if you're going to be out for hours on end. You need something that is custom because you can end up hurting yourself or making something worse. I know I've started having issues with my shoulders and things because of my current chair isn't fitted right to me. Yeah, so any questions you guys have, you guys are asking great questions about it. Sorry, I'm scrolling up through comments so you're going to see my finger.
And that gets expensive.
Expensive in the long run. If you go back a year and you look at all the rentals that you did, yeah, you get a portion of your money back like at the end, but all the rentals and things that you did, that adds up. Why not have your own? And then when you choose your chair, you need to make sure that you're choosing a chair that's right for you. So one that is, do you need a folding chair based off of the type of vehicle that you use?
Do you would
Would you rather have a rigid frame, which is more long lasting and more durable? I went with
I went with a
a rigid frame because it's more durable. I have a smaller car, but when I take the wheels off, I'm going to be able to just, or even with the wheels on, I'm going to be able to probably just throw it right in my trunk, or throw it right in my back seat. Yes, that is Denali. Jetta went with me to my seating appointment. So that was my seating appointment where I actually picked out my chair, and she went with me because she saw the same people I did, and she thought that I could use maybe some input. And she did do some good input. She had really good input on it. Yeah, Jacqueline, it's not, I mean, you could bring it up with your parents, but I want you to let you know, guys, when getting a custom chair, this is a 3 to 5 month process, sometimes 6 months. It just depends on the type of insurance you have. If you're going to be able to get it approved, if you're going to approve it, they could completely deny you. They could approve you, but depending on what type of insurance your parents have, you could have some kind of copay, and you have to raise the funds for the chair if your parents can't just pay for it, because some insurance companies are going to have you do a copay and it's going to be 1,200 to 2,000, $2,500, maybe more. Some people it's half the cost of the chair, and these chairs are six, seven, $8,000 depending on the type you need. So just keep that in mind, that um, it's not going to be a quick process. Like, you can't get the script and then same day go get a chair. So it's going to take some time, and I am about,
Um,
let's see, on the 10th of October I will be 3 months in. So I've already been waiting 3 months, and that wasn't from the initial start. That was from me going to my first appointment with the physical therapist and the physical therapist doctor. Ava, it could be, but I wouldn't cop it out to that. I mean, I can't stand for long periods of time without my entire, and this is because I had a major sciatic injury a while back. My entire left leg goes numb, and it starts to hurt really bad if I stand for too long,
and that's even with,
without putting like pressure on that left leg.
and you know, a chair.
Chair might help you be able to do that. Just understand, people in school can be cruel. I know there was this kid that was having issues at our school when I was in high school, and this was like 15 years ago, guys. Um, he wasn't in school for several weeks and then came back and was using a wheelchair, and then later on in the school year, he got a different wheelchair that was custom to him. And kids made fun of him for it, told him he was faking because he could still walk. Because he could still walk. So they didn't understand. Um, People didn't understand. I never made fun of him. I never really interacted with him or anything. He got stuck one day. I don't remember what it was, but he got stuck. His push bar got stuck on something one day, and he just really could not get it going without probably having to get out of the chair physically. So I grabbed him and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and he's like, "No, it's fine. Please help me." That was it. So I just be aware that people are cruel. Yeah, I agree with Old Nose. Ask for some kind of testing with it because it could be the starts of fibromyalgia. It could be a nerve thing going on that's causing a lot of extra pain. Jaden, you could do and I even tried this shortly. I mean, shortly as in like maybe a week I used it and then I gave it back to who I borrowed it from. One of those walkers that have the seat on it. You could push that around with you or take that around with you if you feel like you're having a lot of extra back pain, and be able to sit when you need to sit without having to go find a seat. Oh my goodness, Kate. I hate when people do that. But I mean, he could have been a service dog, but even if he was a service dog, he shouldn't have been in a cart. Okay, guys, if no one has any other questions about the chair or the process or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I am currently playing Kingdom Hearts 3 finally after, it being out for like a year and a half now. I finally got it and I'm excited to keep playing it. I've almost got this. Actually, I'm pretty sure I just finished beating the Pirates of the Caribbean world.
Any other questions?
Questions? No?
We good? Yeah. Oh, video
Updates as well, guys. I have not been out doing anything, so I've not been out to put vlogs out or anything. Rachel is gone for 2 weeks, so I have been going out a little bit more, but nothing worth really vlogging about. So I'm just kind of waiting for something good to happen, I guess. I am thinking about doing a quick little video on different types of handles that are used, counterbalance, rigid, semi-rigid, guide handles, things like that, and just discuss what the different handles are for, and how to use them and use them correctly. So that might be something that's coming in the future. Just keep an eye out for that. But until then, we'll see you guys next time, and thanks for hanging out, and love and stuff.